What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Watch This video. Happy Sunday. I hope you all had an amazing weekend. There were tons of opportunities last week to enter, a lot of names, tight risk, and plenty of stocks that stood out in a pretty big way, right? QQQ had a range break followed by a nice little inside day, which not really an inside day, but kind of like a stall bar on low volume. Looks to me like it's ready for higher. There were some awesome setups like last week, like I said, like Net on Monday, right? You had the nice range break from the earnings gap up and then a retest of that same pivot, gave a really good spot and a nice continuation. It was weak on Friday, but nonetheless, it was a good one last week. So the breakout retest, and then STX is a breakout above the 50 slash Friday was a buyable day as well to me, right out of the range. I think that was a good spot as well. Looks to be working so far, gapping up in the after hours and a lot of your memory names. NBIS, right? Your power earnings gap through the 50 day, through the top of that range. Up another breakout that's working. Had a nice outside bar on Thursday. A lot of people were freaking out about it. Thought that was fine, and then you just got a monster fall through day on Friday, which was great. But nonetheless, another breakout. Dell was a breakout on Wednesday, which was another nice one right out of the range. It's consolidating last Thursday and Friday, inside day on Friday. It doesn't look too bad to me. Maybe either a gap up or just like a little bit of a pull into the top of the pivot would be a good spot. It looks like continue higher. Even if it pulled back to the top of June's highs, like that would just be your breakout retest. I don't think that would be bad anyway. I don't think I'd want to see it pull back fully into the base, but nonetheless, it gave a good setup last week. AEHR, like a lot of you know, this one's been a beast last week, and it gave a perfect spot on Tuesday, which to me looked like a wick play through that pivot area. Could have been through prior high, although it was already at pretty much full ATR by that time. But nonetheless, it was a breakout and it worked. So it seems like breakouts are working, and they have a higher chance of working. Moving forward, as long as it's from super tight spots and super tight areas and really nice setups going into that next day, which that's what I'll be looking for on a few of these names I got on my list. I had a pretty busy weekend, so sorry if my video isn't like my best one. I'm going to move through this quickly, highlight a few names that I think look good, cover a list of, names that I want to own, maybe need some continued digestion, give me enough clarity for a tight setup and entry. Like, just for example, like a Rubrik. I really want to own this name, but it just needs to get tighter. Snow, same thing. I want to own this name, needs to get tighter. NBIS, I want to own this name, but it needs to get tighter. So a lot of that is going to be on here. Palantir, like there's so many other names. I'm going to go through all these, but overall though, a bunch of names have been grinding higher over the past week or so, coming off their lows in a very big way. Whether it's due to earnings, strength in their respective groups. I'll be waiting and watching those ones for this next week. Trade sideways, form clean setups, tight risk before going after them. I'm hoping to become more exposed over this next week if given the opportunity. Right, this S&P 500 seems to be kicking off a power trend in spirit. It also seems possible, right? You got your SPY kicking off a possible power trend. Inside day here looks like it wants to go higher. SMH, a very big chance for this thing to wake up, get back through the 50 day. And I think that would be absolutely amazing. You're kind of tight for 3 days here, right under the 50, right under a pivot. Looks like a big spot to push through. It looks like we're also getting a little bit of a gap up in the after hours. So a push through the prior day high, push through the pivot, that could be a good spot. Maybe I'll keep an eye on Soxel, see if that could be a good one. But we'll have to see. I think the SMH waking up would be the best case scenario. Still some earnings this week, mostly just your snail stocks, right? Super slow names. So nothing like I'm too obsessed or interested in. Breath, although, not too much to say besides it seems risk on and the action under the hood seems great. I'll continue to monitor this over the coming week if we can come under pressure at any time. But Friday was a good day. Thursday was a good day. Same thing with Pradeep's. Same story, right? Breath looks pretty good. Your NQ and ES, right? Stall bar, like I said, getting a little bit of a fall through. ES with the inside day out of their ranges. ES, barely peaks out of the range and then inside day. This thing looks like it's ready to keep going higher. Dollar, bear flag, looks like it's wanting to continue lower. Crude oil, possible flag. I don't know though, or is it just a lower high? We'll say this XLE is an absolute monster. 2 or 3 days tight from last week towards the end of the week, and you get a nice fall through today. VG, not a bad weekly chart. Maybe gave a spot on Friday. I don't know. And there's a bunch of other ones, like I think VLO, with it. Stall bar. I don't know if I'd be buying these ones. The setups were earlier for sure, but definitely interesting to keep an eye on this group, see if it can keep acting well. GC, right? Your gold futures. Interesting day on Friday, to say the least, right? Kind of getting sideways under the 200. Maybe it wants to get back above it. I don't know. I thought like some of these were like a decent short, but they're just not giving up. Like NEM didn't give that good of a spot. Like maybe it gave a good spot, but it just not really working too much. So who knows? Maybe it builds lower high, breaks down. I don't know. But For now, I don't think a gold short is on top of my list. I think it looks like it maybe wants to continue a little bit higher. Copper futures is getting a super nice move here in the after hours, kind of coming right back. You get a nice breakout of that prior high, and you come right back into it, retest it, and now you're getting some follow through in the after hours. I just don't like FCX. Not bad. I mean, I like the setup right off the 20-day. I don't think it looks too bad. You know, not a bad weekly chart. SCCO, same thing, but not my favorite thing. FCX is the best out of them. HBM, another one. Doesn't look too bad. I'm pretty sure this is in that same group, but nonetheless, nice, nice move on the copper in the after hours. Going over my list here, AAOI, big move on Friday, right? It still looks like it's in that first flag, back above the 50-day. I really like to see that. It's back above the 50 in a big way. So give me a day or two, give me a lower high or a higher low setup to play with, and I think this name looks pretty damn good. Weekly chart doesn't look too bad. ALAB, I know there's probably a whole lot of eyes on these semi names that got the inside days, but ALAB, you made a nice bottom off the lows, right? A little V, and you're building out that right side a little bit. So I like it. It looks like a flag almost. It just needs to get back through the 50. So I will try to say, if these names start to get going, I'm thinking like 5 to 10% portfolio size positions through the prior day's high would be interesting for me. I think ARM, same thing, right? You're building sideways after that nice little V bottom. Looks pretty good. Inside day on Friday, super tight. Over today's high or over Friday's high would be interesting. Same thing with ALAB. And then speaking of semis, AMD, right? Big day on Friday. This thing's been a piece of shit, but it hasn't been too bad, right? It hasn't given up really all, like it hasn't given up too much. It's just the fact that the market's kind of coming off its lows and it's just been doing really nothing, going sideways. But looks like it's starting to wake up a little bit. Friday was a nice day. Give us a few days and we'll see if there's some clarity to maybe try to get this, but it's in the middle of the range. Let it maybe make another big move higher, get tight, and then pushing out the range. It's got a nice base it's building. Let it continue building the base. Overall, looks like a nice name. I want to continue to keep an eye on. You did have an inside week here, so pretty interesting there. Amazon, right? Very weak into the end of the week there, but nonetheless, it needed the rest off the earnings gap up. It doesn't look bad. I did see the mags had an inside week here, so it looks pretty damn good after that big volume and big price push last week. Just digesting, looks like a flag to me. So Amazon right at the earnings low could be a undercut and rally spot, or we'll see how it acts. If we do get a gap up, I will let it gap up trade a little bit. But if we get a morning washout, that's the spot I'd be looking for. It's like an undercut and rally or like a reversal spot off that area. I think that's super interesting, and definitely a setup that I would like to trade. So that's an area to watch. ARM over Friday's high would be a super interesting spot for me, right? Just right through that Friday, which you're already getting a gap in the after hours. So maybe depending on the gap up, we either get a washout or just a push out of this range overall, where that's Thursday's highs or just this little pivot I got marked at like 294-ish area through that would be interesting. Can this thing get back above the 50? It looks like to me the SMH might be able to. So if ARM can, and the rest of the names are pushing, that'd be interesting. AXTI, this group's waking up in a good way, right? AAOI, your optics stuff. AXTI doesn't look too bad, right? Had the inside day Thursday, kind of pushing out a little bit on Friday. Weekly chart looks good. Super low volume stall week. Not an inside week, but looks damn well like it could be. Just continue building out this range. Looks like it's building a flag after a big move off the 200. Interesting to say the least. A few more days of clarity here would give me a nice idea on if this one really wants to continue higher or if it's just, doing not too much. Dell still own this one from about, 420 or maybe 424 something. But nonetheless, I don't want to get shaken out all the way up here. So I'll let this thing continue to trade. I think it looks awesome. Still have a decent sized position in this name. So I definitely like it, but it still looks awesome, right? And that makes me want to throw up HPE, right? HPE comes into the earnings gap up open. Dude, this thing looks fine. It broke out of a base. It's straight up since then. Let it go sideways. Let it build a flag now. Looks great. Next week we'll give definitely more clarity on that one if it wants to build a higher low or whatever. Eli Lilly still in the base. And this group doesn't look too bad, right? As far as health technology, Hinge looks awesome. Oscar made a huge move on Friday and really just last week, and it's right back at highs. So looks like it's trying to build a base as well. B-Fly, right, is kind of squats back in the base. Doesn't look too bad to me. Really nice candle on Friday. Could play this through the prior day high. Illumin, another one inside day. I can't tell if it's a bear flag or wants to break higher. GH, not doing anything too wrong, but not my favorite here. I didn't like what it did last week, but nonetheless, Eli Lilly above the prior day high would be interesting. I want to see it hold the 50. If it breaks down early tomorrow, that's not what I would want to see, but I think the chart's still fine. It's building a big base, so let it continue building out, and I'll see if it wants to push out of the range. I will watch the top part of that range if it gets up there as like a breakout, as long as it's not up a full ATR, it's not extended. NBIS is the name on that list where I really want to own this. Gave an awesome spot on Wednesday, and it looks great. It's so strong. You look at a weekly chart, absolute monster move, right? So its average true range on a weekly chart is, you know, 27%. Last week it moved 47. So let this name consolidate, let it go sideways. It just made a massive move. Let it build a flag, let it build a setup. A higher low setup is exactly what I'd be eyeing. So that's what I'll be watching this one. But nonetheless, I really want on Okta bearish engulfing on Friday. So maybe just needs a little pullback there too. We'll see what it can do, or an inside day. I don't know. Who knows? But overall, it's building a nice cut base. Want to continue to keep an eye on this name, maybe to watch for a higher low spot. Looks like it's in a pretty strong trend. This group still looks awesome. Cyber, right, still looks fine. Yes, these names were weak on Friday. RBRK, same thing. It just needs to continue going sideways for a little bit. CrowdStrike doesn't look terrible, but it did have a nice, you know, bearish engulfing day on Friday. Let it maybe pull back a little bit, build a higher low, and then you can get involved. FTNT, same thing, right? Bearish engulfing on Friday, maybe a pull into the 50, then you can look to get involved on a higher low. PanW, same thing. These names are acting awesome overall in the last few weeks. Let them rest for a few days, and then we can go after them. Okta looks fine. It's building a base, but I didn't like that day on Friday, so I'll let it trade for a little. Don't think this one's viable tomorrow, but we'll see if it washes out to the 20-day in a nice way. OUST, right? Yes, a semiconductor, but part of that LiDAR group. It's building that first flag, and in fact, that Friday looks like a breakout to me. This name looks really good. Give us an inside day, and then maybe a push out of this like range. This like $50 area pretty much has been a huge area, or $49.50, whatever you want to call it. Been a big area that we've just stuck under. We tried to break out here and then came back pretty quick, but now we're flagging back under it. Let us push out of there. That would be an interesting spot. I will watch to see if we can even just push out of this. Looks like it could be gapping up in after hours, but nonetheless, maybe a little bit of a washout in the morning, inside day, who knows, we'll see. Interesting salies. SpaceX, I felt like throwing this on the list. Some of these space names have been waking up. RDW, right, back above the 200. It's building a flag. Rocket Lab had an inside day on Friday, right? It's trying to build a flag. Not my favorite, but I'd rather go for SpaceX here, right? You had the lockup expire on, I think it was the 6th, and that pretty much bottomed the stock. Made a big, you know, 40% move up here, double inside day. I will watch over Friday's high. Would be an interesting spot for me if it doesn't already push above there, but we'll see. I like how tight it got from Thursday and Friday after that big move. So right under the IPO open lows. So I like, you know, it looks like that was the high from Wednesday. Get us pushing through that. That would be super interesting. TER, but this is a name I'd probably go with 5% size because the group's been crap, but it's slowly starting to wake up. So maybe it was viable lower, but I still think it doesn't look too bad and could definitely continue to act awesome. TER, it looks like it's getting a gap up here in the after hours. Man, this thing has been a beast from that earnings, or from the gap up on Wednesday. Weekly chart looks awesome. It's right under a nice pivot. So who knows, maybe it breaks for a day and then pulls back in, or just keeps going sideways for a few more days. I think that would be the best. But inside day on Friday with a shaved top, looks like this thing is just powering through and it's going to break out. So I will watch to see how it acts as a breakout. Maybe try with like 5% size, see how that works. But breakouts have been working, so definitely want to be more confident in that area. Toast, inside week, really nice look. It looks like it's moving into stage 2, right? You kind of had your stage 1 base moving into that stage 2. Looks pretty good to me. Nice little flag it's building. A few more days of action would be nice, right? Continue building out sideways, but I mean, you kind of have like a low volume day on Friday. Looks like maybe a push through Friday's high would be an interesting spot. So that's where I'll watch. 5% position probably, because a lot of software names are pretty, you know, extended, to say the least. UMAC, big gap up from Friday's news, or Thursday night's news, whatever, and then Friday, you know, you had a big washout. But I did talk about that high volume close spot, which actually gave a really nice spot as an undercut and rally there. After you get the morning washout, it undercuts, rallies, holds a strong candle. That's your entry right there. That's your trigger. Gave a nice spot, right? It has made a big move up here, so I think some sideways would be interesting. But I will watch that high volume close spot, or just a breakout of highs. This name is at all-time highs, so if there's any drone name to focus on, it's UMAC. It's nothing else. It's just UMAC. You don't need anything else, right? This name's decently liquid, moves 8% per day. Looks pretty good to me. So that's pretty much going to be my list there, right? I talked about the Mags has an inside week. Amazon looks good. Microsoft, I want to continue to keep an eye on this name. Let it continue to consolidate. To me, it looks like maybe a 2-day, like 2 or 3 day bear flag. I don't know if it looks like a bull flag just yet to me. It has made a big move up. It is starting to go sideways, digesting. Looks good, but just let it continue going sideways. Don't think it looks too bad. Nvidia is another one where it's like, let it continue going sideways. It's, you know, kind of straight up. It looks like to me like you come up here, maybe squat back in the range, and that would be super interesting. To say at least, you do have earnings coming up the next 2 weeks, so that'll be interesting. But the Mags looks not too bad. Google is just a void. Meta's in a void. You know, the rest are in a void. But Microsoft's been a beast. Amazon has been a beast. It's just been digesting. Let them digest. And then you can find spots as a higher low to get them. DRAM made a super nice move last week towards the end of the week, right? SNDK was a monster on Thursday. Another gap up in Go Day Friday. And you're going to gap up in the after hours. interesting. STX was an absolute beast. It's not on the list because I don't see a buyable spot now. The buyable spot was, Thursday and also Friday. So maybe let it go, build a flag for the next few days, and then maybe we can go at it. But nonetheless, looks really damn good. I mean, this thing looks awesome. MU, big liquid, one of the most liquid stocks in the market, if not the most liquid, I think. But nonetheless, it's in a group that's waking up. It's getting a big gap in the after hours. I don't want to go chasing this gap up from like no real tightness, but I think Thursday was a good spot through the prior day's high or through that like pivot area. That was not bad, but it's back through the 50. That's exactly what we wanted to see. So now let it build a setup and then we'll go for it. Okay. So I really like this one. LYTE ETF, right? Just made new highs, right? LITE double inside day. Looks like it's trying to build a flag. I was going to throw it on the list. Maybe I still can, but weekly chart doesn't look horrible, but it had an earnings gap up 2 inside days. Let it continue. It looks like it's building a flag. So give us another inside day on Friday. Maybe we would feel a little bit better about it, but it's right under that April pivot, kind of made a high on earnings and then high from Friday too. So go sideways for a few more days. Let us know that this is really a flag. This action has just been so volatile. COHR is another one, so volatile. So maybe avoid right now, but let it consolidate. Let the volatility contract a little bit, and then push through those tight areas would be super interesting. AXTI is also on that list, of course. GLW is another one, optics group, right? Looks like it's trying to build like a little bit of a flag inside day on Friday. I'm not going to go for this one. It looks like possibly a laggard out of all of them, but AXTI is above the 50, AAOI is above the 50. I would rather go for those ones instead. SMH, like I said, this is going to be the big one for me to watch coming tomorrow. Through the 50 is an interesting spot, right? AMD trying to wake up. Marvell possibly building sideways, maybe a nice little flag. Intel, same thing, inside day on Friday. Is it trying to build, right under a pivot? Maybe get through the 50 would be interesting. And you're not missing out on anything if you don't catch these things. If they do burst through the 50 day, like AMD, let them burst through the 50 day, let them wake up, let them go sideways. They'll offer that setup, the higher low setup, the tight little base, the tight little flag, whatever it may be, and then we can go for them. Okay. AVGO is an example. Like this thing, right? It did try to give it a good spot and then it got absolutely smoked, right? So don't just keep trying to catch every single bottom on this name. If it goes into support cap one, like top of the support cap, and maybe undercuts and rises and pushes, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't just keep adding and adding, or don't just keep trying over and over and over and over again. Let the name reset back up and then work. CBRS is another one of those names, right? It's in that semi group. Doesn't look too bad. You had the earnings gap down. Looks like a squat. Not horrible action on Friday. Nonetheless, continue to let it trade for me, and then I'll keep an eye on it. OUST is a semi, and AEVA, another LiDAR name. Looks like it's building a flag. I'm just going to keep an eye on this name. I don't think it's just viable just yet to me, but a nice weekly chart inside week. Doesn't look too bad. Right, IGV, the digestion day on Friday, the nice little pullback. Let it just continue to go sideways. Palantir, let it go sideways. Let it keep going sideways. Shop, let it go sideways. Microsoft, let it go. Like, let this group that's made a big move go sideways and offer a new setup, and then we can go for them. Snow, Zeta, now, DDOG. DDOG doesn't look too bad, right? 4 inside days. Looks like it could push. This one maybe is possible. Frog doesn't look too bad either. DOCN, I saw had an inside week, I think. Yeah, inside week, so it doesn't look too bad to me. I will keep an eye on all these names. Apps, right? Double inside day. Maybe it's trying to squat and back under the pivot and then re-break. I don't know. It doesn't look too bad. U is getting extended over 10 ATRs from the 50. 5N's acting awesome, right? It's building sideways. MongoDB is making a big move. This group is super strong. I just want to continue to keep an eye on that. Robo, your robotics ETF, right? Nice inside week. I thought this chart didn't look too bad here. It's building out sideways. So TER is a big one in there. We talked about that one. So we'll see if that one will, continue setting up. AMBA is another one that's in that group. I think this one just had, a double inside week. So it's getting tight. I don't know if I'd go for this one. I'd rather just go for TER. But nonetheless, the robotics group looks like it could be waking up. I talked about XLV, right? XBI doesn't look too bad, right? Just a nice little pullback to that 50-day or the 20-day with a nice candle there. Doesn't look too bad. ARCG, you come into the prior left side peak. You pull back a little bit. You're just squatting. It doesn't look too bad to me. Maybe breach and fail, but nonetheless, doesn't look too bad, right? ANET is another one I want to keep an eye on, right? You look at a weekly chart, inside week doesn't look too bad. TOAST had an inside week. AEVA had an inside week. Boeing with an inside week, and you saw LMT's been waking up a little bit. So maybe this group, but they're pretty slow. So we'll see for the options, boys. Probably like that stuff. Dash, another one inside week. Looks like TOAST, not too bad. NOVT, I think was another inside week. Doesn't look too bad. I think this is robotics, if I'm not mistaken, but I see some clean setups. Prior traction has been great. Names are working left and right. As long as there's tight risk, a quality daily setup, then I'm focusing on 5 to 20% at max positions, right? Usually, if it's like in a group that's been weak and maybe slowly starting to wake up, 5%. And then stuff that's just awesome setups, I'm looking for 10. And if it's good enough, 20% positions and the highest conviction names on those new buys. Besides that, I'm ready to see what this week can bring, and I will catch you all tomorrow night. Peace.